All right, let's see where I ended up. I'm thinking 15th in the last tournament. We're going to do a scouting report right now for this new 9-hole cup, but 11th, of course, 11th. One more spot and I could have got my berserkers back. Arrgh. I could not, I just did not have a good round. That's how it works. That's how it works. The difference between where I was at and being at the top was just a few drop shots, not in the sand, not in the rough, just a little bit. Few mistakes adds up to 4 shots. That's the deal. There we go. Let's see. 9 junglists. That's good. I'm trying to get those 2 or 3 epics. I'm just trying to get them maxed out. That's the whole deal. Let's see, do I got a club card trading? No. None. Let's see what we can get for this this new 9-hole cup. Let's get some of this stuff rolling. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. What's the news? Golf Clash, Pebble Beach, whatever. Let's see what the 9-hole cup is. I will tell you that if you don't watch any of Tommy's stuff, the Golden Shot is definitely worth watching. Definitely. Kmart sucks. It says so in the movie. Come on. I'm going to take my free shot here, and this is going to be with a wood. I'm sure of it. What is the wood? What is my wood? Excuse me, sorry about that. It's 50% accurate, and I'm going to do plus 10 no matter which way the wind's blowing. The long iron is 1.7 per ring, so we'll do. I'm going to set up my calculator here. I'm going to do 10% no matter what. 10% times the wind divided by wherever I'm at and whatever club I'm using. All right. Let's take my free shot and see if we can get anything going. Wow, I go first. Look at that. Now I'm in driver. Jeez. Yeah, I'm going to do driver. I don't even know what the driver is. I can't do driver because I don't know what kind of spin to put on it. So we'll have to leave enough room out here for the wood. I'm going to put just a couple top spin. I think it'll roll down. I'm going to put 1. 1 and a titch. 6.9 divided by 2. 376. 379. There's 379. Oh, I can't believe I let it said great.
You should come do that in the house, baby.
No, I'm good.
Here.
Okay.
Okay.
I let go. It said great. How can it say great and I time out? That means I let go and it said great. Is this which came first, the chicken or the egg? And the egg came first. And the egg wasn't laid by a chicken. That's the deal. That's the hard part people have with. But how can it say great if I timed out? Damn it. All right. There you have it. That's how to mess up with the Golden Shot. I didn't think I was going to be a driver there, and I'm not sure. I actually don't know. I don't even know what the driver hits as far as, because you never take that shot with the driver. I think that's the first time I've ever been on any of these holes where he actually had to use a driver. What is the driver? I was just thinking I'd treat it just like the wood at 2, but it's actually at what is that? 1.8, or excuse me, 1. Is that right? 1.8, 1.75, 1.7, 1.65, 1.7, somewhere in that neighborhood. All right, there you have it. The epic fail. That's how the week's going. I deserve that. That's why you go watch Tommy's Golden Shot, so you can see what you're getting involved with and take the time to go do it. Okay, so we have a new 9-hole cup here. What is the 9-hole cup? The Center Course 9-hole cup. How many practice tokens do I have? I might be able to go out and practice and talk about it at the same time, because I think there's a lot of these these particular holes, I don't have a lot of time and grade on. I could probably look at the picture and figure out what we're going to do, but it might be nice to go look at it. I do have 4. I do. And I can get some more. Let's go get some more. Customize. That looks good. 500. 500. Reload that sucker. We'll run, and it'd probably be helpful if I selected it at the same time. That usually helps. I've done that. I went and picked one and then didn't select it, and then was wondering why I didn't get it. But I will tell you, this 6-shooter set is BS. You paid for them, you should get them. All right, let's look at hole number 1 in the center. What is it again? Center course. All right, hole number 1. That's hole number 2. Hole number 1. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that we're driving it in 1, coming up into this area right here, just trying to go at it. And it's all about getting your top spin right, so you get up there. I'm pretty sure that's what we were doing. I don't think we needed to start off on the other side. I actually think we were starting off right here. And if you've got a upper developed extra mile or APOC, this might be one of those ones where you could bring out a bigger ball if you're having, like if this is our pocket, you could bring out a bigger ball with a big topper. Depending on what ball and club combos you got. Let's go look at it. Let's go look. Let's go looky-look. Looky-loo. I have no idea, and I usually start these weeks off and I have no idea what like if we're doing any adjustments to the cup. I have no idea. I usually want to start my week off by writing my notes to establish what club and what ball I want to bring. That's my whole goal number 1. And then once I figure that out, then we can start trying to make adjustments. I'm pretty sure it was just get up in the pocket right here. Yeah. And you can do that with a we'll take a Titan to go practice today. We'll practice these holes with a Titan. Do I even need a Titan? You could do this with a Katana. I got 1 of those in stock. 1. I don't think I need all that topspin. I think that's way too much. How much room do I got on a red line? So I can pull back where I'm 5 rings out in the fairway. And you can see if you pull forward here how it's, what it's doing right there is it's rolling over at the tip. And when you're here, it's flattening your ball guide out. So trying to stay back a little bit farther up here on the flat, in this flat area. And so in order to do that, I was 5 rings away from the front, white ring against the transition between the rough and the fairway, putting my ball guide really centered. This is going to be one of those ones where if we have to do an adjustment, it's really going to be important to know, like, to watch the first shot you do, to really watch your bounce and see if you're hitting. It doesn't matter where you end up. You can work on topspin, but making sure that you hit, because you definitely don't want to hit far forward. My opponent did perfect. Perfecto. And I'm going to run all the topspin just so that I can see the first shot, like how much, like if I put it in that area where I'm 5 rings away from the front, and then run all my topspin. Man, that looks like too much. I'm going to run 1 less than max. 4.5, 1.1 times 4.5 divided by 1.2, 4.12 rings. 4.12 exactly. And a little bit of curl just to bring it back to the cup. And a grate to the right just for good measure. Yeah, I'd say 2 less than max topspin. So that's got 85 topspin. So if you had an extra mile 7, I think maybe even 6. I know if you have an extra mile 9, it's got 85, but if it's 1 down from that, it's got 65. If if you got an APOC 4, 5, 6 right in there where it's got its 65, easy money. There was enough room down there that if you like you don't have those clubs, you could bring a 3 Powerball on tailwind days and use your big topper. You'll have plenty of top spin there. And if you had a headwind day, you could bring out a little bit bigger ball just to give yourself a little bit of room to work out the wind. But we have lots of, that is definitely an on and one. If we don't get an eagle on that, we just dropped a shot. That is a fact. Let me turn my grid on. The old test pattern. All right, hole number 2. What is hole number 2? Hole number 2. You know, there's so many of these holes that look like this. I think there is one of these holes, and I think it said 10%. I think that there was one of these holes, and this might be the one, that it was a 10% and it was like plus 0.1, but there's a spot there. Obviously there's a bunch of ways you can play this, but what I was doing on this was getting way back here underneath of this tree. And when you're coming to the hole, your ball guide, because of the terrain here, if you try and get your ball guide all the way to the cup, it's rolling down to the cup, it'll overshoot it big time. That I was leaving myself short of the cup like 3 or 4 squares. And it's one of those deals where the ball guide is literally doing this, where it's curling around. And you've got to spin when you set the shot up, you're spinning it so that you can actually see, trying to extrapolate where you're leaving it, like its trajectory going towards the cup, but being way back here underneath of the tree and not trying to get up close to it. Let's see if I'm pretty sure that this is the hole, and we were hammering this, and I am almost positive it's like 10% plus 0.1, and I'm not sure. I'm going to take a quasar. I don't think we needed anything more than that. And whilst I'm here, let me purchase some quasars. Let's get at least 9 of them, just so we got a few in the bag. And I'm going to take a quasar. I don't know that I need any more than that side spin. If I do, I'll switch to a katana. And we will practice. Practice. Hole number 2. Here we go. Your connection is not stable enough. That's because it's 107 degrees here. And nothing wants to work. My family's been staying at the coast. My family has a house on the coast, and they've all been staying over there. I have a family member that's in from out of town, and she needed to be picked up so she could go to the airport tomorrow. And it's 107 here and probably like 60% humidity, so it's pretty hot. And over there it was 80 with no humidity, or if there was any, it felt like there was none. And there's Max Grizzly. There's Min Grizzly. Damn, I'm really close to Min Club, and I think I was playing at Min Club. This is where you got to get at this angle when you're doing this stuff, and really knowing what kind of spin to put on it the first time. There is. I'm gonna put 2 and 1. Let's find a spot where that works. And you're trying to look in your mind's eye to see if that'll fly down that route. I'm at minimum club, which is 1.3. It's 2.46. I'm going to do, 3.5. And I'm going to let it time out. That was 1 top spin and 2 right hand side spin. It was 3.46, 3.46, and I was going to add on 0.1. So I was just going to do 3.5 and round up. Plus 0.1. All right, I've got an equation. I'm going to do 2 side spin, 1 top spin. Was that 1 top spin or 1 back spin? This is why it's so important to record your own video, because you can be sitting here doing the thing and then you totally forget. Close. Plus 0.1 would have helped him if they did the 10% and everything was good. And they're obviously doing a different setup than me because they had a white ball, so they couldn't do any side spin. Was it top spinners? Let's get back in that area. Yeah, it was 2 and 1. 2 and a solid 1. Four, 6. 3.99 rings. I like it. 4 rings exactly. 4 rings exactly. Hitting it perfect. Ooh! Ooh! And is that a matter of me over pulling it by the plus 0.1, or is that where my trajectory was slightly off? But that hole right there is definitely hole-in-oneable. You can get up closer to it, but when we played this, when this hole first came out, I think I was playing it up close like that. And I did a practice round on this the first time these holes came out with Dunner and I. And we were trying out different spots. And I think my buddy Kyle was the one that was like, hit it from farther back right there. There's a sticky spot. I like that hole. I like our chances on that hole. I mean, that's the first 2 holes right there. We have to get hole number 1, and that hole right there is definitely gettable. Definitely. All right, hole number 3, the first of the big par 5s. Man, I can't remember how to play this hole at all. Oh, I do remember. Okay, and this is a hole. This is where you need whatever clubs you bring out, and it seems to me that it was very little spin. You have 2 choices. You can go for over here so that you can clear this outside tree and you can come at the cup. But I think where the cup is at is it's kind of let me get rid of that and zoom in here. The cup is down here. And so like if you drew a line from the cup to the tree, you really have to get up in this area to have a straight up shot at it. But like if you get over in here, you can work yourself around that tree with some side spin. And a little, you know, you can work yourself around it. But the real spot that I'm aiming for is this spot right here, right by the shadow, because then you got a straight up shot to the cup. And depending on, I think there was a situation where you could get here where you had to bounce on this side of the sand and then bounce it over the sand and then run at the cup. I think that's the deal. And I think you can do it with it if you hit for here. I think the second shot you can do it with a kingmaker. We'll see what the ball is. Like there was a ball situation, and I think what it really was that we were right at, depending on where you get out up here, like if you leave yourself a little bit short of this, where you can still kind of get around with some side spin, but just a little bit of lost distance out here puts you in a red line situation on your second shot. And so you really needed to nail this first shot and be right along that shadow. This clear area that's out here is kind of like your target area. And you can hit it and still be in the clear and hit it a little bit too far with this tree, where you got to bring it around and now you got to get a little bit jinky with it. And if I remember correctly, it's like one or two toss in. It is not much. I'm going to take a Titan. And I'm going to take an APOC. And we will practice. Practice. My connection's not good enough. Screw you. The Jubilee Grove Center Course. Did they ever? They never said anything to us about, hey, we're going to change up our tournament format and we're going to do 9-hole cups once a month, or we're going to do them before a major. We're gonna have, they, like, can you guys talk to us? I mean, we're the average person that plays this game, at least the people that watch my channel, are in their 40s. I mean, we're all adults. You know, we're used to having people come and tell us, hey, this is how we're going to do it. And we're like, okay, that's how you're going to do it. It's not a big deal. But it does kind of piss people off when you treat them like 2-year-olds. And you can tell that they treat us like 2-year-olds with all the stuff that they do out on the course, the emojis and the hole explosions. It's like the little kiddie game. It's like they don't know their crowd. Adults are used to going in and paying for something, like you pay for the, you paid 500 gems and you got 6 practice tokens. But with kids, you go in and they do some game where they can earn 6 practice tokens. And that might be too far. It is too far. I'm not saying they can't get to it, but you've got that tree in front of you, now you got to deal with it. Okay, I'm going to pull back to the +1 mark. That leaves us some room for headwind days. So I might have to put a little more topspin on it because I pulled it back. But I'm going to put, oh man, that's, how much is that? It's downhill on the end of that shot. There's 5. I'm going to do 5. And it's definitely downhill, so I'm going to add on 10. So there's 4.4 divided by 1.2. It's 3.66 rings. There's 366. And a great to the right, just for good measure. It wouldn't be a good shot if I didn't hit a great. I would have liked to have got to the edge of that shadow. The edge of that shadow, you got a much clearer shot. Now I have a shot from right there, and I like my shot from right there a lot better than my opponent's shot in that tree. That's one of those deals where you set your ball guide up. Yep, you set your ball guide up there and you use curl to get around. And don't worry about, hey, don't worry about the fact that it's going through the tree. What you're looking for is the distance to the cup, and then you move it back over to the tree, because you know that your ball guide doesn't represent curl, but you know you're going to put curl on it, and it'll just wrap around that tree. So I pulled it back, and so I put on, was it 5 topspin, 6 topspin, like one more, or even just a half a bar of topspin. And I've got I have a shot from right here where I can use side spin to try and get me to the cup. Okay, but I'm not going to do that. What we really want is we really want to hit right on the other side of that shadow. And that's not very far from where I'm at, but like half a tick right there. That's where we want to be. Much better shot. Even maybe just a titch farther than that. And there's lots of ways to get up there. So if you're going, well, I only have a club that's got 4.5 topspin, you don't have to pull back to the +1. You could stay up. And on a headwind day, you could bring out a bigger ball, or you could use a little bit of overpower. Although I will tell you, if you're trying to pinpoint to get into a tight little area like that, it would be much better. Yeah, see, now I'm right there on the in-between clubs. That's the deal. So if you're in that area, if I brought out a katana, my red line would be right here, and I would be fully in minimum long, or minimum wood, and that would be better. I'm going to do 10% at max. So it's 1.1 times 3 divided by 0.9. It's 366. There's 366. Haha. I was gonna try and let go the first time through, but I wasn't quite set, so I waited. I was hoping that I could get back. Nice. Let's try that again. Let's try that one more time. Let's try it again. Now let's do hole number 3. Hole number 3. We'll practice it one more time. The problem with bringing out a katana is that, man, I almost really want to play. The deal is if you play it with a, if you've got a tailwind day, you might be so close to your red line with your sniper. Now, your sniper is going to be at 1.2 per ring, so it'll be tough. The way you could do it is play it with a bigger ball, and then you're always going to be in your long iron. These are the types of things that you really need to be have in your bag and be aware of what the wind is, and you don't just go play the hole and go, "Hey, today we got headwind or we got tailwind," but be thinking, hey, look, when we have headwind, I've been taking that shot with my Grizzly and I've been in the right spot, but I don't have enough room to work out the wind. Okay, I was at the +1 mark before, and I'm going to play it with a katana. And I'm going to pull back to the +1 mark. I'm going to run all my topspin. See if I can get down that hill. And it's 4.5, 1.1 times 4.5 divided by 1.2. 4.12 rings. There's 4.12. And I'm going to do just a titch of overpower. Just a smidge, just rubbing the nubs. I was getting fresh with the nubs. Perfect. 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 That was 85 topspin at the +1 mark. And I think I'm going to be, with this wind, I might be all right. A smaller ball should put me in my wood. That'll be minimum wood. 1.1 times the wind divided by 1.2. And it seemed like there was a small adjustment on this too, like we were adding on something. You can always go forward and play it forward. And I got plenty of room on my red line. Headwind or tailwind day, I got plenty of room. .6, it's 3.3 rings. Okay, there's the 3. And there's 1, 2, 3. Hitting it perfect. Perfecto. That was +10 to the cup. Here, I'm in the hollow. This is like a Watership Down. I'm in the hollow right here, so even an inch to the left and it would have been in the hole. That's not bad. That's not bad. Against a headwind, so the wind is pushing me to the, like a plus, it was 3.3 right the number, like just a little bit more, just a little. I could have did my pull angle could have been off. I mean, that is right there. Right there. That'll get you started. You're really going to have to find out with your clubs where your red lines are going to be on that second shot. So like right there, if I can get to that shadow every time, if I can get to that spot, and this is why you record your own video, because I can go back and see what the yardage was on that spot, so I really know, because you take a big risk there. If it out here, so where my red line was at up here on the second shot, I had plenty of room in my minimum wood, but if I would have been a little bit longer and that red line gets pushed forward a little bit, now I have, you know, I can't take the shot with my wood unless you had a Goliath where your red line's non-existent between your wood and your long iron. If you've got a Goliath or a B52 where it hits the 135, then you know you could pick it up with the other club. But if you're using a Grizzly and you've got that big red line there and you're pushing it, you could find yourself where neither club's going to work and you'll have to hit in front with your wood. This is where you have to play what you have in your bag, because you might want to play that every time with a bigger ball so that you can always play it with your Grizzly, or always play it with your Goliath, or always play it with your long iron, whatever you're doing. Or you might want to play it with a smaller ball and do some overpower. I do not recommend overpower when you're trying to do this. If you really want to, if you have to, let's say you have to do overpower, that's what you're going to do. Go for the shot out here to try and clear the tree. Because even from the rough out here, if you've got a Nirvana, I think you can recover. Because this is long iron right here, potentially. So out here, you're in long iron. So if you've got a Nirvana, your Nirvana hits 135, and guess what your Goliath hits? 135. So guess what your Nirvana is? It's basically a long iron. And so if you're having problems, let's say you're having problems getting to the spot here and you're getting caught up in the trees, just pound the ball out here. If you're in the clear, you're in the clear. If you're not, you're in your Nirvana, you get up, you recover, and you move along, little doggy. This is the type of hole right here that really it shows the example of when you watch somebody and they go, oh no, this is the way you got to play it. Bullshit. You have to play this based off of your clubs and your ball inventory. I mean, that's just the way it is, because you know, and every ball you bring out is going to put you in a different red line down here depending on where you land up here. I like the spot right here because you've got a nice straight shot at it, but you got to watch that issue, that red line issue. All right, there we go. We talked about that one enough. That was a Dale Appleby hole right there. I spent 30 minutes talking about it. I give Dale Appleby shit because I shot a video on a par 3 one time, and he said you spent 30 minutes talking about a par 3. Only Ott could spend 30 minutes talking about a par 3. Seems to me that there's a rough bump here, but I could be wrong. We'll see. Otherwise, we're just having to bring it straight at it. I'm not a big fan myself. I say that, and then I get on the hole and I do exactly what I say I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of starting off here and bouncing over the sand, because you're putting the sand in play, and the whole idea is let's take the sand out of play. So like hitting in front and trying to go at it, or trying to do that rough bump. I think that rough bump is rough. Like you really got to have the right stuff. Like you need top spin, you need a ball with side spin, you need the whole deal. But we'll find out. We'll find out the hard way. The hard way. Dun 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 dun. Well, we got a couple days off. We don't have to do anything. They gave us tournament after tournament after tournament. Never explained to us why, but we had tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament. We're still having tournaments, but at least we have a couple days off. I thought it was getting old when we had the 9-hole cup and then a tournament and then the 9-hole cup, but shit, I didn't know. Let's watch out what you wish for. I'd like to go back to those days just so we have a couple days off every week. And I'll tell you the one big thing that I really liked about it is, now you can go from here and go at it, but can we do is there a rough bump right here? I think if you had a bigger side spin ball, there might be. If you had a bigger power, bigger side spin ball, let's see. What do I have for, do I have any, anything bigger than 6? There's an 8 side spin ball. What does that look like? Maybe. Maybe a 5, maybe a 10 side spin ball. Now, you would maybe think my opponent would pick up that I was like practicing there and they would practice. Otherwise, they're going to go out and they're just going to we're playing one-on-one. I spent a practice token. It's good. I'm gonna, yeah, there you go. Take your time, dude. Like, look and see what feels right. Time out. Check it out. You don't have to take the shot right here. You don't. Okay, I didn't really know what I was going to. You could tell that they didn't know what they wanted to do. So, because they were moving around, like checking a little bit of it out. So, what's the big deal? Nobody wants to practice. Nobody. They could have went out there and changed up and saw the deal. Nobody wants to practice. Nobody. And just for good measure, they'll make the hole-in-one. Do 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 do. Side spin. I got a 10 side spin ball here. I want to see. We all know that we can take a straight up shot at it. Let's see what else we can do. I think if I moved it this way, I got more out of my deal. Nope, not gonna happen. And my opponent wanted to play in 2 seconds, so it looks like we're gonna just take the shot straight up at it. I know that every time I've got on this hole, I went over there and tried to do a rough bump. I'm just blown away by the fact that nobody in this game practices. Nobody in this game understands how to practice. Nobody understands. And I'm not surprised that Dante didn't understand, because they don't understand a lot of things, but I get it. I get it. I just... Man. If you see somebody out there and you're practicing, I guess it is impossible to practice. I guess it is. I don't remember this hole at all. I do not. I don't remember how far we can get or whatever, but I can tell you that, in my opinion, this is spectators out here. This is fans. Okay, this is the people that follow me from hole to hole. And if I hit out there, they're going to be pissed off at me. The shot must go this direction. It must. I'm not so sure on this hole that we can't just like get on. Let's go look at it. My connection is not strong enough. It was strong enough a minute ago. I like it where I've been playing with Dunner and he got a thing saying your opponent's connection was not strong enough, and I got a thing saying your opponent's connection is not strong enough. And what that tells us is that Playdemic's system was not strong enough. None of these companies will ever take any responsibility for anything that goes wrong like that, because that could open them up to something. Never admit fault. Never. It's got to be that way. It's got to be. Let's bring out a Titan. Titan, the king of balls. And let's run all of our topspin. And if I hit that curl from there, it's going to, like, that ball is too much on a max drive. Maybe the Katana was the right ball. I came with the right stuff. There we go. Now if you hit that tip out there, the question is, do you get enough loft that you could actually make it over to the other fairway or not? I'm going to try it from right there and see if I can hit out here on the tip and bounce over and get to the other side. Somebody who's never watched my channel before is watching this right here and going, what kind of shit is this? Hey, you know how valuable it is to be able to watch somebody else go out there and do the thing, and then if you're taking notes and you're like, hey, a power 2 ball does not work on that. A power 5 ball is too much. My opponent did the wise thing by just laying up around the corner, and then you could go for it from there. But I want to see if we can actually get over, and I'm sure you can if you bring out the right equipment. If you brought out a topspin boost ball here, I'm sure you could do it. I'm sure of it. I'm sure. Okay, I want to be in that area. I'm going to put a bunch of curl on it, and I don't want to. Right there. 4. And that puts me 2.5 rings into power. Perfect. Oh yeah. Yeah, you could do that with a topspin boost ball and get down into that area. If you had the right kind of wind so that you could use the push of the wind, you could probably do it with just a 3 power ball. I probably would have had a better shot right there with a 3 power ball going against that wind. The 2-4 on the first shot was a little much, and if you put yourself in the right spot, there's a killer rough bump right there. And I think the last time we played this, I was shooting for the rough bump. I don't normally like eye rough bumps where you've got your rough is here and you got fairway right there, but this rough bump kind of goes around the bend and widens out. It's actually not too bad. Unfortunately, I would like to shoot where my opponent was at. I've taken 2 shots, they've taken 2 shots. I'm going to take 3. Ah, damn it. Nobody wants to practice. I think there was a rough bump that you could do here. And I'm at Max Club, which is 3.3 is a ring and a half and a little. There's 3. And a 1 ring great to the right. Your sniper has more topspin. Although it doesn't feel like it sometimes, your sniper does have more topspin than your rough iron. And where I was at, in between, there's fairway, there's rough, then there's fairway. If you were laid up here at the top, you're definitely going to be in your sniper, and I was kind of in the middle. So if you get to the other side, you're going to be a long iron. If you were really trying to hit to the other side and do the deal, I think, if I remember correctly, the Grizzly does have enough topspin to get there. But it might have been one of those shots where I was bringing a Goliath. That is a hole right there to really kind of think about. Consistency-wise and equipment-wise, it'd be easier just to lay up right there and give yourself that shot every time. And I think if you were in this spot, instead of trying to be like when you come around the tree, everything's kind of wanting to terminate you along this side. What you'd really want is you want to end up more on the left if you want to do that rough bump. So if you're starting off over here, starting off on this side versus over here, your shot to the cup, you don't have to work as hard on the rough bump. But if you're over here doing it, you're going to have more spin in order to get it back to the cup. I think consistency-wise, although I know for a fact that you can get over here, I think consistency-wise, just laying it up at the top is probably the way to go. Because then you can really, really work on your second shot. But in these 9-hole cups, the whole deal is that they're almost set up for you to go for it. Because if you can get up here and you can get that shot, I still think the consistency is probably the better deal. I do. This is why on Thursday I will practice so that I can come out here and I will do the layup, and then I can start the process of working on what kind of adjustment I need to make from up here at the top. I think that's how I'm going to play it this week. That way I don't have to bring anything special. I can just lay it up right here and I can take the shot. And then I can try and establish what secondary club I need. I had to get super close to the tree to make it with my Nirvana. And my Nirvana's got, what's it got? It's got 60 topspin. And a Grizzly's got, I think it's got 60 as well. No, it's only got 50. So you might have to bring a Goliath. You might. You might. I think a Saturn might have. It does have a little bit more topspin. And with a rough bump, the ball guide's not as big a factor. So you could do it with a Saturn. The thing about that's if you got over to the other side. But I'm really thinking that if you hit up to the top, you're going to be in sniper range. And sniper's got 68 topspin, and I think that's more than enough. More than. All right. And if it's not, you could bring your Horizon. Because I know that your Horizon might not have as much stuff, but it has a lot of topspin. It's one of the things it gets right off the bat. I used a Horizon for a long time when I first started playing because of the topspin, because your driver sucks when you first start playing, and that wood helps you out because it has a lot of topspin. It can make up some of what you don't get with your driver. Next hole. Practice. Yeah, we're not on hole number 1. What hole are we on? Let's go look. Oh, hold on. That's probably why it didn't pick the right hole. I was going to say, that thing screws me up all the time, but I know I was on past hole number 1. Alright. Is this a par 4 or a par 5? It's a par 4. I don't know that I remember exactly what we were doing here. Let's go look at it. Let's go look. Let's go practice. See, how long have I been shooting these videos since we've had practice rounds and practice? And the only time I've ever gotten somebody that wanted to practice is when me and Dunner are hooking up and we're practicing. And Playdemic loves it that nobody understands practice. I love it when we go out and practice and somebody goes out there with a white ball and they don't line it up, they eyeball it, and they just hit it with the white ball and they're like, okay, good. Yep. It's a Marling. And I just know for a fact that there was no way I was laying it up there at the top. This is a par 4. That kind of shit, laying it up there at the top, is what you do with a par 5. Are you really going to play this with a Marlin and you're just trying to see, like, what does it look like with a Marlin? Or are you out wanting to play and you wanted to blow some practice tokens and we're treating it like one-on-one? You know you don't win any chests. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they were like, wow, this is some newfangled deal. I have no idea. None. Titan, the king of balls. And can you get over there? Jeez. I don't think you can get over there. Really? Really? Are we just laying it up right there? That seems lame. Come on. That really does seem lame. We don't lay shit up on par 4s. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, we were definitely trying to get over to that. Definitely. You could use a topspin boost ball there too. As long as you can clear with the wind, as long as you can clear this area right here, or behind you, where they're at. Yeah, there is no way I'm going to lay up there at the top. If they can get sniper up there at the top, you could get long iron from that rough area. I'm going to bring out a power 5 ball and I'm going to pound that down there. Let's look at it. Let's burn a berserker. I'm going to do it just for all of you. Just for you. I'm going to burn a berserker. I think it was this way. So I want to start out here in the open as much as I can. So on headwind days, I'm giving myself as much room as possible. I'm going to start right here and I'll put a little bit of left hand curl on it. 4-3 times 1.1 divided by 1.2, 3.94 rings. And I'm not going to put the extra wind back on it. I want to see if I can just hit it out there doing the deal. Hitting it perfect. Yeah, that barely made it. So on a tailwind day, it probably wouldn't hurt to put the wind back in it, all the wind back in it. And on a headwind day, you might want to bring out a topspin boost ball because I don't think you'd make that on a headwind day. But you would with a topspin boost ball. Of course. Nice. So this is the shot that we're looking for, and I'm going to take it straight up wherever I'm at my club. That's it. No, I'm not going to add or take off anything. Let's just see whether I need to add or take something off. There's Max right there. And boy, this would be a great hole for a Goliath. If you wanted to do that rough bump, that would be a great hole for the Goliath because you could start off here in the tip and you could bring it back around. Here, I'm right at Max Club. It's arguable, but it's 4.3. I'm just going to do 4.3 rings. It could be 0.9 per ring. But I think with a 5 power ball, it's 1 per ring. Hitting it perfect. The wind definitely pushed it off. So if it was divided by 0.9, it would have been 4.77 instead of 4.3. So I would definitely do the 0.9 and then see how far off you are because it's downhill. So it's probably 0.9 and 10%. But the only way we're going to get to that spot out here is if we bring out a big enough ball to get us in this area. I could have, on my shot, here's my arc, I could have moved it over a little bit to the left so that I had a little bit straighter shot at it, but you're pinching yourself with this rough, the way the rough curls up here. And you're not giving yourself enough room. By starting off in the dead center, if I did have a headwind day, if you set your shot up there, you're giving yourself more room away from this rough. But I think if there's any kind of headwind whatsoever, unless you have a super low wind 5 power ball, you're going to have some ball that's got some top spin. I really have to go back, once again, why it's so important to record your own video, to see where my second bounce landed. Because I'm sure my second bounce landed here. It might be better to come in at it where if you can try and get your second bounce right there on the very tip and then bounce it over so that you can try and get as much hop as you can before you start to spin out. And I think my first bounce was here and my second bounce was in the rough already and then went forward. But if that's the case, I think my second bounce was like halfway in and this isn't going to work. I think you need to bring out a 5 power ball. And what I was trying to do was, this is the closest spot to the tee box, and I was trying to get my ball to come from here and come out here so that I didn't have to go as far to get to the fairway. And this is the shallowest spot, and I think that's about where I came out. All right, we got an idea. We have at least an idea of what we need to do on that. Now, there is definitely a rough bump on this one. Definitely. Definitely right here, rough bump. For freaking sure. I'm sure of it. Tommy says 20. I'm gonna take it straight up and we'll see what the deal is. And I'm sure it's downhill. I have no idea what ball to bring. But I know I don't need a berserker. We'll start off with a Quasar. That'll give us some options. Let me make sure I have a bag that has a Goliath. I do. What I need is coffee. I know it's 5:47 at night, but I need coffee. And I have a bunch of people that might be coming over for dinner in any minute, so I guess I better hurry. They won't be sad if they have to come over and hang out for a while because my house has got AC and the other houses don't. And some of you are thinking, people live in a house without air conditioning. In the Pacific Northwest, we used to not get hot weather like this. So it's just been, it's a last 10, 15, 20 year phenomenon. So there's tons of houses that don't have AC. Other than here's the way it normally used to work. We'd have a couple weeks of hot weather, we'd have a couple weeks of cold weather, and we had 3 months of rain. That's it. On average, it was partly cloudy, 72 and partly cloudy. These backboard shots, I hate these backboard shots. What I don't like about them is if you're playing this course in one-on-one, it's so easy to get just close to the cup by doing using the backboard. Of course, you got to have a little more speed than that, but it'll roll right back down towards the cup, and you'll be that far away every single time. It'll never go in, but you'll be that far away. It'll occasionally go in, which will try and entice you to continue to do it. Okay, there's Min. There's Max. So I'm about mid-club with a Quasar. Do I have enough spin with a Quasar? Not a chance in hell. How far over do I gotta get? And that's grim. That is G-string right there. That is G-string. Can't get any closer. I'm gonna do a 10%. So it's 4.7. And it's just gonna be 4.7 because it's 1.1 at mid. Here's 4.7. Perfect. Whew. And that definitely hit back, and I did a 10%. So I was aimed, here's that rough area, and I was aimed dead center middle, and it hit back it hit quarter, so it pushed me back about a half a ring. So I would say doing 20 was probably the way to go. Would have been. Mid club plus 20. I'd start there if you're going to do that rough bump. That rough bump, though, will be tough. This is one of those things about, you really want to have 2 shots in your bag on holes like this, because I am not a fan of pulling over the sand because it distorts the rings, and the way that the sand trap is there in that particular spot, there's such a big lip on this side right here that once you pull over that lip, here's the terrain. The sand comes up like this, and then you've got the rough area, and the rough area is kind of rolling down, and so you're in the rough area, and when you get over this, it wants to make a jump, and it's hard to pull that out. This is one of those ones where you make an adjustment, and then you have to push back in like a half a ring in order to account for the drop. And you'll have to work that out. So any day that we have wind that's running along any of these planes that are making you pull over the sand, you'll have to adjust for that, or you'll have to bring out a really low end ball. I personally like to get into areas like this, and I think you might be able to if you brought out a bigger side spin ball. That ball only had 2 side spin. and I was at mid club, pretty close to mid club. If I brought out a katana, it's going to push it forward. If I brought out a kingmaker, it's going to push it forward. So I'm going to be more towards mid, but it would give me 3 side spin to try and get to it. Or you could bring out a 4 side spin ball. But if you could start off in this spot, it's much, much better. Number one, it gives you some separation in your rings if you started off dead center. Or if you could adjust. So like if the wind's blowing this way, instead of starting off dead center, you start off over here. And you could move your shot around within this pocket in order to allow for you to work the wind out. So if you do your wind equation first and you go, hey, I'm going to have to move at 3.3 rings, you'd want to make sure wherever you set up out here, you were 3.3 rings away from the sand. It would really be good on days like this because you could pull out here into the pocket where you don't need as much side spin. Yeah. I do think we were bringing a bigger side spin ball there. That's the thing about these 9-hole cups is you can waste a lot of resources for just the 2 rounds doing the deal, and you really need to try and pick them all up. And I'm not sure, you know, I'm not sure. I was doing this with a 4-4-4, but the last time we played it, I was flirting around with doing the deal where you bring out a ball and try and go from here and try and get your bounce number 1 and bounce number 2 and do the deal. But if you brought a 4-4-4, you could start off up here. You could pinch yourself so that you were 2 rings away from this transitional surface, and you could do max curl and bring yourself right along the edge of those trees. Now, Dunner was playing this where he was trying to hit the ball over to this little island. There's an island over there if you can't see it. There's a little fairway island, and then from here you had a shot. But I would rather be right here in front. And this green, if I remember correctly, the pin is here and it's on a hillside, and so when you're back over in here, it's not a gimme chip. Like, you still have some work to do. Even if you end up in the perfect spot out here, you still have some work to do. I'm not sure if I can do this with a 3 power ball or a three side. Yeah, timed out. Not sure if you can do it with a 3 power 3 side spin ball. We're gonna try. I'll bring a kingmaker, but I think I was bringing a utility ball, a 4-4-4, the working man's ball. That is the one ball that I obviously these precision balls are handy, but the one ball that I wish that was in the store. I have no idea. The store has been here for 7 years. Do they not like money? Do they not like money? How many times would you go, hey, shit, I need a berserker. Berserker, why isn't it in the store? A 4-4-4, why isn't it in the store? How about a 2 power ball that's 2 power, it's 4 power and has 5 wind and 2 top spin, or instead of 6 side spin, it's only got 4 side spin. It doesn't have as much side spin, but it has a little bit more wind. Or, I mean, couldn't we come up with some so that we could add another tier here? People buy them. People have to pay for their gems. Come on, people buy them. Playdemic doesn't like money. They'll come up with some other way for them to make money, as opposed to something that we would all be like, hey, that's cool. We can now get 4-4-4s in the store. They're expensive as hell, but we can get them. How many people would be okay with being able when you want to? You could go in and buy a berserker, or you could buy a 4-4-4. You could buy a pack. Anybody? All right, and I am 100% sure I was doing an adjustment here, so I'm going to start with 10. We'll see. We'll see where it lands. We'll see whether I needed to do 10 or I needed to do 0 or I needed to do 40 or what I need to do, but I do believe I was doing a 10. If that sounds like a recurring thing, most of the shots that we play are downhill on the drive. And even the ones that are uphill on the drive, you don't have to take any wind off. The math isn't right. It's the variable that they have in there. So yeah, it seems like I was trying to do that right there and try and bleed out. I'm not going to be that close to the tip right there. That is for damn sure, buddy. Let's make it. I hope they make it just so that you can see what that looks like. Yeah, they'll make it because they were like 5 blades of grass away from the tip down there. That is where you bring out a bigger ball and you bring out your big topper. That is the deal. I'm going to put on 4 topspin. Where does that put me as far as distance? I'm going to put on the 4. If that's too much, that's too much. I'm going to be 2 rings off of that. 3.7 divided by 1.2. 3.4 rings. There's 3, 4. Hitting it perfect. See if a 3 side spin has enough to bring me all the way around. Yeah, it does. I think I could do 1 less topspin than that. I know that looks like a gimme right there, but I think this is one of those ones where the ball guide wants to go, like you really have to be at an angle at it. And the deal is that you may be close enough where you're like, hey, wind's not really going to be a factor, but I think there's a drop. Like as the ball is rolling down, the hill itself is forcing the ball to the right. And so you have to account for it. We'll go straight at it and see if there's a drop. That's good. You got to see it 2 different ways. And the way that my opponent played it, there's a bunch of different ways that you could play that out there. If you had a smaller ball with topspin boost, I would want to give myself a little bit more room out there than they did. And you can see how close they hit. And that worked for them today, but that's not going to work every day. So if you run your topspin, you can see it's one of those things where you're really going to get caught up in the drop. And this is where I would run a little bit of backspin and get right up on the cup. And try and run it like this. And when you do this, because where you're at to the ball, the wind is definitely going to play a factor. So I'm going to put it right on the edge of the cup. And we'll see if wind pushes me back over to the other side of the flagpole. Oh, we're not going to see it because I hit it great. But the wind definitely pushed it to the other side of the flagpole. That is definitely that is now that I played that, I remember that's a hole that if you get to the right spot, if you're used to running topspin on your rapier, I would not recommend it. I would recommend putting on a little bit of backspin, and you could put on a little bit more than I had right there and get up closer to it so that it's a fairly straight shot, and play it that way. But when you run all your topspin, here's where you're starting off. When you run all your topspin, you're going this far, and then your ball's running. And so wind is not going to be a factor in this little teeny area. But if you're starting here, and here's the flagpole, and you're going all the way to here, and then you're going to do it, during this area, the wind is going to play a factor. So you're going to have to account for it. All right. All right. What hole are we on? What hole? What hole? Hole number 9. Hole number 9. All right, I'm heading over to this area right here and going for this shot. But there are some things that we can do here. Is this the one? I don't think this is the hole, but maybe it is. It seemed like there was a couple of these. There was one of these holes that if you came out here, like what I was doing beforehand, I was trying to get out here into the shadow, which is kind of difficult. Most of the people that fail this week that you're going to see fail are going to end up in the sand. And I was trying to get out into this area right here to open the window up so that if you drew a line from the flagpole to that sand, I was trying to get over on this side and get up in here so that I had a straight up shot at it with my sniper. But if I remember correctly, the last time we played this, there is another hole that's very similar. This shot to the cup is very similar, and I might be confusing it with that shot. But it seemed like there was, if I can grab my pen, hell no. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Now I got my pen. If you do, there's a rough bump that you can do right here if you bring a horizon. I'm going to bring a horizon. We'll see if that rough bump's there. But in order to get that rough bump, you can actually, if you're going to do this rough bump, you don't want to hit it all the way out here. You want to end up right here, which is where most people are ending up. And I think there was a horizon rough bump that you could do from right there. We will see. We shall see. To me, if you were trying to get up into this area right here, I was doing this as a blind curl shot, and I practiced it a few times to get it right, where I wanted to go, okay, we'll draw a line through the middle of this fairway. And let's say you gave yourself a couple rings of separation here, and so you're out here. If you get too far forward in your shot, like you bring out the wrong ball, okay, if your angle's going like this and you're trying to cover this angle and curl, you're obviously not going to cover that with an extra mile. You're going to have to start off back here and try and aim for that spot. Okay, so a bigger ball is not really going to help you. But if you've got a bigger curl club, you can push it forward, and you have no idea where you're going to come out here. You need to take a full shot with max topspin and max curl and see where you end up. And you'll have to take that shot a couple times to find out where you need to be out here. This is where those plus numbers come in handy. So if you're using a power 6 ball, a now power 6 ball, you're at plus 16. You know, were you at plus 16, or did you pull back from the plus 16 and you're at plus 12? You're 2 rings off, you do max curl, 5 topspin, and you end up right here. You know, then you can start to set that shot up. It's easier, I think, to get right here. We'll find out. We'll find out if it's easier. We will. I'm going to bring, and I'm not sure if this is the hole or not. I know one hole that we do a horizon here. I need to switch that. Whew, I'm glad I didn't get caught. Jeez. Let's make sure we got a horizon in the back. Regardless, I'm just going to use my horizon. I'm almost positive that we brought out a ball that had more, that we needed a topspin boost ball in order to do the rough bump up there. But it was one of those spots where the other hole I'm thinking of, there's a sticky spot up there, and I think this hole we had the same deal. I think. There was one of these courses, and it might have been this one. Dunner and I were out there, and we were dinking around, and we ended up both dropping the last hole because we were dinking around, and we didn't know who was at the top. I was in like 6th or something, and all I had to do was get an eagle on it, and I would have won that tournament. And we were out there dicking around, just messing around, and both of us ended up dropping the shot, and both of us ended up losing the tournament because we dropped that shot. And then on the other one, where it's got the same shot, we went out there and we made Albie. We both made Albie on the last shot and ended up winning that tournament. You could get over to drive it, but why, I say. I'm not going to put all that topspin on. I'm going to put on 2 less than max. And a titch of curl. And I'm at the plus 1 mark. It'll be easy to remember. 1.9. It's 1.75 rings. 175 and a little bit of curl. I'm going to get fresh with the nubs. Really fresh. And perfect. With 0 time on the clock, I'm sure. If I'm going to do that rough bump, that is definitely a good area for it. It is definitely a good area. No. We will see. I don't even know what my horizon hits. Let me look. Did I write it down? I'm sure I did. Did I write Horizon down? I did. At max club it's 2, at mid it's 2.3, and at minimum it's 2.6. That's got to be at least mid, if not max. I could be wrong on that too. Oh, I am at min. Look at that. Shit. Could you be wrong on anything else? Yeah, there is a Horizon rough bump right there. There is. And I'm at minimum club, which is 2.3 per ring. So it's 2.5 divided by 2.3. I'm going to take it straight up. It's 1.1 rings. It's 1.08, and I'm going to round it up. There's 1.1 rings. Oh man, I really wanted to hit that perfect. Really wanted to hit that perfect. There is a rough bump that you can do right there, and you don't need a toss in boost ball. That is awesome. And it might not be a bad idea to bring out a katana. I'm way short on the drive, so that ball was way overballed on the drive, and where I was at right there, if I wouldn't have got quite as far, I would have had a red line issue there where I would have been right at my minimum red line. So if you bring out a katana, you're going to push that red line back and make sure that that window is always open. And the katana is not going to hamper the drive shot at all. Instead of being at the +1, you're going to be forward of the +1, and that you're not going to have any problems at all. Well, I think with the katana you'd still hit it at +1. Excuse me. The pluses are all the same, so you'd still hit it at +1 instead of +16. I think it's what, +12 or something for a katana. Yes, there you go. There you have it. That's a dangerous shot right there on the second one, but I think the reason we went to that is because I wasn't having a lot of success just driving it over there, but it was hard to get into the right spot on the drive. And then the second shot, I wasn't having the success with the second shot, and it's easier to get to that spot on the drive, and you still got a great shot at it. And everybody's got a Horizon, and most everybody's got a Horizon with a lot of topspin. I mean, we'll check it out. We'll check it out real quick here. Hold on. Let's check it out. When does a Horizon? Clubs, woods, Horizon. When does it get? If you got a level 4 Horizon, you got 94, and that should be more than enough because I don't think I had it all on. And even if I did, 94 will work. 74 might not, but if you got a level 4 Horizon, that might work. There you go. There you have it. All right. Thanks for watching. That was a scouting report for the Center Course 9-hole Cup. And a little bit of a practice round. That'll be good notes. Now when I go out there so the whole deal is now I can go out in the opening round. Now I got a game plan. Now I know what clubs I need and what ball I'm going to be able to bring. A little bit of an idea on what kind of spin I need to put on some of the shots. And now I can go out there in the first qualifying round and just practice. It is dangerous when you don't qualify on the first day. But I can go out there and I can use it as a practice round to get me through. And then go out there and try and run the tournament. Have fun, my friends. Stay safe. Hey, if you're not a subscriber, hit subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell, do all that good stuff. If you like the videos, about 50% of the people that watch the videos aren't subscribers. If you like the videos, subscribe. It's no big deal. I put out content. I try and put out content every week. I am going to be gone. Next week, I've got to go to Arkansas for a couple days, and I'm going to try and play, but I may not be able to, but we'll see. I will try and put out a scouting report for next week's tournament, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to play next week's tournament because I might be gone. I might be gone later on this week, so they haven't told me on what day I got to go back out there, but I'll only be gone for a few days, and then I'll be back. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Stay safe, my friends.